Now, oftentimes when you're just getting started in building an online business, you're probably looking at which category, which niche, which product am I looking to get into, which one has the highest profit potential, which one is the one that I'm passionate about, and which one can I stick to it. So you're looking at all these things, trying to balance and juggle things out. But competition does have a huge influence on which category we select or which category we get into as far as our building our business up in the future. So when you're really looking for a category or a niche, you're actually looking for what are the needs of the people? What is the value that you can give to that end user, to that customer? What problems can you solve for them? So ultimately, that's what you're looking for when you're selecting or choosing a niche. And you're really ultimately discovering those things because you're looking at seeing what are the problems that people are having. What are the things that you can fulfill for them? So when you look at this and start selecting these things based on competition, there's a few ways to go about it, but today I want to share with you the quadrant method, so that way maybe I'll give you some things to think about in looking at an empty market space. So let's take a look at the quadrant method. All right, so here's our quadrant, or also known as a perceptual map. So you can look at things in a quadrant. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 different areas based on 2 different attributes. So this is attribute 1, attribute 2, and you can make them whatever you want depending on the competition or industry you're looking to get into. Now, these lines are spectrums and they intersect right there. So spectrums, they go on forever in both directions. So if I'm looking to give you an example as far as a quadrant, let's just do a quick one real fast on drinks, or healthy drinks and not healthy drinks. So my first attribute could be, let's just say at the top could be healthy, and towards the bottom it may be not healthy. Okay, so if I'm looking to get into the drink business, this might be a certain attribute because people want sometimes healthy drinks, sometimes they want the non-healthy drinks. Now, the other attribute could be more along the lines of you're looking to cater towards the demographic side, like adults versus kid-friendly. Now, keep in mind that the adult-based beverages sometimes could be more kid-oriented. And they could be more of a balanced, and you'll see that as we get into it. So, but we have this attribute, whereas our demographics, so kids versus adults, or more wiser, older demographics, and then we have the healthy versus the not healthy. So as you start looking at this, you might start filling in some of these gaps. So you'll put in, for example, wine right here, where it is more adult based and it's not as healthy. So it could be somewhere over in this region. You could put beer. Let's say you're looking to get into this drink business, a beer over in this area where it's still adult based and it's even less healthy than, let's just say, wine. As we move a little more towards the right over here and get into the kid-friendly area, you could say, okay, well, you have juice boxes. So juice box over here where it is kid-friendly, okay, extremely kid-friendly, but it's definitely not healthy, filled with sugar. Gatorade could be somewhere over here where, again, it's probably not the healthiest, but it's catered a little more towards adults. It could even be over here, it just depends. But here we have our Gatorade or sports drinks, that could still be catered towards kids. You might have milk over in this area, okay, where it's a little kid-friendly, but also a little bit healthy. Orange juice could be even more healthy, but also kid-friendly and oriented. And again, these aren't specific or exact areas that, are perfect, but it'll just give you a rough idea. And especially if you start seeing gaps, which I'll show you here in a second. So here you might have water, which, kids don't really like water. They want the juice boxes. But you have the adults and it's a lot more healthy. You might have hot chocolate over here in this area. So as you start looking at this, you start seeing, okay, well, where is the empty market space? So we kind of have this empty market space right over in this region. And this is where you could start seeing things, especially in your industry, of things that you could cater and focus towards this certain demographic or area, or even over in this region. So if we're looking at these little areas, in this regions of where there's some empty space, now you start focusing on what is it that you could do and the problems you could solve for this area and for these customer base. So that's your empty market space. Now, if you look at it right here, the adult drinks that are extremely healthy, now you could get into things like a kale juice or something like that, you know. So that's where you start getting into these drinks that kids probably hate, that probably taste not very good, but they're extremely healthy and the adults want them. So it's kind of a weird dynamic that you start building and creating. But when you see this empty market space, when you see this quadrant, really opens up your mind. And when you start doing this and start putting things in categories, the first attribute is just based on the needs of the consumer, and the second one is just kind of the demographic that I've done. But you could, of course, substitute for any attributes here if you wanted to. All right, so I hope you really found this video helpful, because you can mix and match all kinds of attributes based on your business. You don't have to do it based on these attributes that I've given to you. Instead, you could mix and match depending on the business that you're in or the category that you're in, and play with it in multiple spectrums and see what you come up with. And this will give you some ideas and insights of different categories of opportunities, and then you can really cater a product, a service for that demographic, for those people, and find solutions to their problems and fit their needs. And when you do that, that's when you can fill the gap in that market space. And when you fill that gap, you've got your category, you've got your niche, and then you can focus in that area. Now, keep in mind, again, you want to focus on the solutions to people's problems. People typically buy products because it fills a certain need for them. So they're looking for a solution to their problem. And if you can fulfill that need, then ultimately your business should grow as long as you execute it properly. So if you found this video helpful and you want to see other business training videos like this one, go ahead, click this thumbnail right here and you'll continue watching with me. But if you want to sign up to my newsletter list where I share some insights, some private insights to other training videos, along with discounts to my books and some of the courses that I have available, click this link right over here. Get on the newsletter list by entering your name and email address,